Alright, so what I'll be explaining today is on how to update and delete on PHP MySQL. Now, first of all, the file must be saved in the PHP format, of course. But then, though it is saved in PHP format, you can still use the HTML here, as you can see, and then simply add the PHP coding into the body part of the HTML. Only then you can make this connection to the database using MySQL Connect. And for this yellow part, you can simply check in your PHPMyAdmin what is your localhost, root, and your password if there's any. And for this DB, $DB, it is for you to select which database that you would like to use in this particular project. Okay, moving on to the SQL query part. Okay, so in this part, you have to literally write down what you want to retrieve from the database. So in my case here, I use select star from student. I use select star because I want to retrieve literally everything that has been recorded in the student database. So it's easy for me, and I don't have to choose only which record that I want to retrieve. So for the $sign query part, you just literally have to send in this $sign SQL into this MySQL query for you to be able to read or save anything into the database. And for this or die function is to check whether your SQL statement is correct or not, and if your statement is wrong, this statement, SQL select statement fail, will be seen on your server side. So the next main point is that we want to retrieve the data that has been entered to the database to be displayed on the server side. So now we know that we're now using PHP, so we can't simply use HTML. We must first use a code at the front. Only then you can start using HTML as usual. So as you can see here, we have created a table with Matric, student name, faculty, program, email, phone number, and action, which is to edit the details or to delete the record. So in this while loop is where all the magic happens. So as you can see, this the condition in the while statement is that row must be equal to that MySQL fetch array. So this function MySQL fetch array is used to literally fetch what you want to retrieve from the database. So in this case, we use query, which we have entered in the early part of this program. So after that, we can simply assign the data from the database to another variable in this file, which is, for example, now we retrieve the data of Matric from the database, and we assign the data to a variable in this program, which is named Matric with capital M at the front. Same goes to the rest of the data, which is student name in the database. So we assign this student name in the database into this file variable, which is capital S, TU, and capital N, AME. And now, for your information, the name of the variable can be anything that you want. For me, it's easy for me to just capitalize the first letter of each variable, since it's easy for me to memorize and not to get confused. And then we can just simply copy the variable name that we have assigned the data to into the table that we have created earlier to display the data that has been entered or recorded into the database, to display the records. And for this part is to edit the data and delete the record, which I will explain further in the video. Okay, so we are now in the edit details.php file. So starting from this first if to the last if is that we want to check whether the requested metric number is the same as the ones that we have recorded in the database, or whether it is available in the database. So as long as the metric number is the same as the requested one, it will extract the rest of the records which have been recorded in the database, which is student name, the faculty, the program, the email, and of course the phone number. Now, what I just explained with the if statements and whatnot is for the use of this PHP file specifically. Now, for the database side, we have to literally write down the query for the database to know what we want to retrieve from the records. So in this case, we use select star from student, same as before, but with the condition where metric is equal to metric. And then you can just simply pass the SQL1 into the MySQL query so that the database will know what we want to retrieve from the record. And the main function of this query too is to allow us to display, or in other words, to retrieve the data that we want to display in the HTML part of the coding. If you have noticed, there's this read-only function on the metric part, since it is the primary key of this record, so we don't want to allow them to change the primary key. So we have came to the last file of the PHP file, which is deleterecord.php. Now in this file is specifically for deleting records, and as you can see, there's not much different from the edit details.php file. The only difference is that the SQL query, which is delete from student, where metric must be equal to $metric.